Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to start the process for applying for the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation Scholarship. Many of you are in the process of applying to a lot of different scholarships, and this is one that is very beneficial because it gets you a full ride to any school in Nebraska. So we're going to start by going to buffettscholarship.org. And you're going to click on college scholarships. And as you see, it'll talk about what the Susan T. Buffett Foundation Scholarship is about. Like I said, this scholarship funds hundreds of kids in the city every year. One school had received about 50% of their kids that were able to receive this scholarship who had applied. So your chances are very good if you apply and get all your paperwork in. So we're going to discuss today is the essay portion. So like all of your other classes, well, rather not classes, but like all of your other scholarships, you will have some form of an essay that you have to fill out. But with the Susan T. Buffett Scholarship, there are 6 questions that you have to answer in the essay format, and it gives you anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 words to do this. So we're going to go over the questions, and I'm going to give you an idea of how to answer those questions, what those questions looks like, and foregoing. So we're going to talk about the application requirements. So the first deadline is the February 1st, and that's when you actually start the online application, put in all the detailed information, and really getting that essay portion in. So as you can see, the essay should be, like I said, between 1,000 and 1,500 words and needs to address the following questions. What are your goals and how will you reach them? So with this question, you want to think about all the things that you aspire to do, goals that you have for yourself while you're in high school still, and even when you are in college and as an adult, and just talk about those. Some of you may aspire to open up your own school one day. You might have the goal of being the first to graduate in your family from a 4-year college. Just talk about those goals so that they can get to know you a little bit more and see what your ambition looks like. The second question is, describe some of your strengths and weaknesses. How have you developed and learned from these? Many students have a hard time answering this question because they feel like they don't want to appear as weak or look negative in the light of the people who are viewing these applications. But that is far from what you want to be thinking. The reason they ask you this is because they want to see how you view your capability and how do you overcome, adversities and things that are your weakness. So for me, I could say, well, one of my weaknesses is that I'm a perfectionist. And because of that, it takes me longer to get assignments done or to submit projects because I want to make sure that it's just right. One thing that you guys have been able to do this semester with me in my class is do strength finders. And through that, you've been able to identify what your strengths are. So let's talk about those. If you're an achiever, talk about what achievement looks like for you. If you are somebody who is futuristic, talk about that strength and how that's beneficial to be futuristic, to think ahead and to always be planning accordingly and making decisions that reflect what's going to happen in the future, not just right now. So think about all those different strengths and weaknesses and share those. And then also just explain just how you've developed and learned from these. Like I said, with your weaknesses, it may be that with the weakness of being a perfectionist, you develop that by getting the work done and then asking somebody to review it to make sure that it's right, instead of you continuing to do it over and over and over again without even getting some additional help. And even your strengths, how have you developed that? If you are somebody who is futuristic, maybe you decided to get a planner and start writing, your goals out and things that you foresee that you want to do in the future. So you can talk about that. Moving on, let's talk about essay question number 3. And that one says, how have I demonstrated leadership in life, community, school, and job? This one, you can talk about a ton of things that you've been able to do. It can be that you may be the vice president of a school club or captain of a sports team. Also, other things like getting a promotion or recognition at a job or at a volunteer position. You also can even talk about your leadership skills even within your family, showing your relatives how to be successful in high school by getting good grades, by being active in sports and clubs, and just staying out of trouble. And again, we can talk about just, being the first in your family to pursue college. That's a huge leadership role, and that's how you demonstrate leadership in your family. Caring for your younger siblings by getting them to school and helping them with their homework is a way to model responsibility. And I know a lot of you guys do that. So talk about that and how, much you want to do for, your siblings to make sure that they have everything they need, but you're also trying to make sure that you're doing well in school and that you're active and doing what's best. So there's a lot of different things you can talk about that, displays and demonstrates your leadership in school, in the community, at work, at home. So just be willing to talk about that and share those opportunities that you have had to demonstrate leadership. Number 4 says, how are you involved in giving back to others in your community? Now, remember at the beginning of the year, we all received rosters that helped us it was a log for service learning. And basically that log helped you keep track of all the community service that you've done over the year. And many of you have been doing community service all 4 years of your high school career, and that's awesome. So now this is the opportunity to share your way of giving back. It doesn't have to be in a formal community service atmosphere, but it can mean that you're participating in a clothing or food or blood drive, where you're, raising money for like March for Dimes or for a cancer walk, things like that. Even, participating in a blood drive where you're convincing people, why it's so important to give back. That kind of community service. Even thinking about just volunteering at a local shelter. Some of you may, go and serve meals during the holidays to those who are in the shelter. Helping your neighbor or relative by mowing their lawn and caring for their pets or watching their children for free. A lot of different things you can do that can show that it's your way of giving back to your community. Number 5 talks about telling us about an obstacle or challenge you have faced. And this one can be a little hard because some of you, it may be easier to think about obstacles and challenges you face. Some of you may not. And you can think about that by even asking, a close family member or a close friend, hey, what is something that you think is worthy of me writing about that describes an obstacle that I face? It could be that, you were really sick as a kid and you missed a lot of school, but you were able to catch up and, get back on track with school. It could be, losing a parent or losing a close friend while you were younger and how that's affected you. For me, I remember when I worked my scholarship, I talk about when I had a tumor and I had to have that removed and I missed a lot of school and it was really scary for me being 13 and finding out I had a tumor that I had to have surgery to remove it. So talking about those obstacles and challenges and how you faced them. Were you positive? Were you scared? Were you triumphant? Did it change your perspective on life? Just talk about what that obstacle was and how it impacted you. And then the last one, it just wants you to tell about a time you worked hard to achieve something. And many of you can, think about school and different projects that you've done. Some of you can also think about activities that you've done with friends or clubs that you've done where you had something that you worked really, really hard to achieve at, whether it be building something at your home or whether it's helping to raise awareness about an illness. Whatever you work really hard to achieve, talk about that. Talk about what made you want to work hard at it. What was the process? What it looked like? What are some obstacles that you faced during the way? And what was the end result? And how did you achieve it? And how did you feel about that? So just share different kind of things like that. Again, all of these will be comprised into an essay format that's 1,000 to 1,500 words. So make sure that you're keeping track of your word count. But first, I just want you just to go through and just write out all of your responses for each of these, and then we can work together to do some drafts, some peer reviews, and edit to cut it down to make sure that not only does it fit the 1,000 to 1,500 word count, but it also provides the content that the essay is requiring. But please remember just some final tips when you are filling out the essay. Answer all of the questions, write in the paragraph format, have someone read your essay, which will be myself and your peers, because we'll do some peer reviews, and make sure you follow all the instructions that it requires. Some of you may be asking, well, this is a lot of work. Is this even for me? Do I really even need to do this? And I'm going to definitely say, of course, we're going to talk about eligibility, because a lot of people are eligible and there's some who are not. If you click on the tab at the top where it says eligibility and selection, you will see where it talks about what are the requirements. So you have to be a resident of Nebraska. You have to graduate from a Nebraska high school and earn a Nebraska GED, one or the other, graduate or earn a GED. And then you have to have at least a 2.5 cumulative unweighted GPA in high school. So if you don't know what your GPA is, go down to your counselor's office and they can pull that up for you. But make sure that you do meet that GPA requirement as you're filling this out. And the next thing will be to be a first-time freshman when you're entering college. Some people, they go to college and then they decide, they are just going to work and they're going to take a break from college and they come back. Well, those are the kind of people that they will not accept applications from. So you have to be a first-time student. So you guys been seniors now, you have never been to college, so this is how you fit into this category, because you've never been to college and it's your first time applying. Students who are obtaining dual enrollment credits in high school are still eligible to apply. So I know some of you are taking classes at Metro your senior year with dual enrollment. That's okay. You can still apply for this. And then another thing, we talked about this earlier, was that you have to plan to attend these following schools. Nebraska community colleges, so that's Central, Metropolitan, Mid-Plains, Northeast, Southeast, and Western Nebraska, or Nebraska State College System, which is Chadron State, Peru State, Wayne State, or the University of Nebraska, which is NCTA, UNK, UNL, UNMC, or UNO. So if you're not planning to go to any of these colleges, then this is not the scholarship that you'll be filling out. And you also have to be in need of financial assistance in order to attend school. And if some of you are kind of disappointed because you're like, well, that's not fair, and I need help, with paying for college too, but there's other scholarships and other avenues to help you pay for it as well. This scholarship focuses on students who basically their expected family contribution is below $15,000. They're the ones who are encouraged to apply. So when you fill out the FAFSA, you'll know what your EFC is. You see it says right here, no, students do not need to be Pell Grant eligible to qualify. You just have to express the need. So there you have it. Let's get started on writing our essays, and then once we get the drafts down, the next class, you should be able to bring that draft with you, and then we'll start peer reviews. If you have any questions, please refer back to the website, buffettscholarship.org, and make sure that you check out these tabs and come in during lunch and after school if you have any questions for me. Get to writing, and then we will do some peer reviews and do some final drafts so that you can have it all ready and to submit it before the deadline.